Kei ngā kaiwhakawa o te waipounamu, tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou, nau mai ki te awhia whetua wha. Welcome to session 4. Okay, just a quick overview of what we did today. Did the karakia and the sound file is there to open, and our waiata, we sung this together, and just a reminder that the YouTube clip is there for you to learn and reinforce the waiata. Here's the link to our website. These are two ways that you can get there, and there's a link also on the picture. Okay, those are the course outcomes that I'll just have just as a wee reminder of what we're aiming for, and the goals for our session. So today we looked, was mostly a review because lots of people were away. And Murihiku couldn't join us, so we looked at last week, and which was good reinforcement for those who had turned up. We had a discussion about this quote from a Kaiwhakawa rewiti kohere from Ngāti Porou in the context of your role in the courts. So the invitation is to read it and think about what learning and using te reo within your workplace can do to support Māori language revitalisation and Māori regaining mana over himself, herself, themselves. And saying that, I think it's personal responsibility, but everyone has a role to play, and I acknowledged all of the judges who are participating on this course. I think it's a really important job that you do, and carrying our reo and tikanga and an understanding and respect for it is also really important. Okay, so we had a bit of a discussion about the personal inquiry that I've been talking about. So what we did is we went back to week 1 where we discussed some of the issues, problems, challenges in regards to reo and tikanga in the workplace. So that's what is so. And then we created a goal, just a really achievable goal out of that what is so, and then flip that goal into a question. So if you start to think about the who, what, where, when, why, how, and for what purpose language and tikanga is used in your role, you can make a start. So one example that we chose was someone expressed that they find it hard to memorise words, phrases and sounds in Māori. So the goal was to develop strategies to memorise new words, phrases and sounds, so that he or she could be more confident in using Māori words. The inquiry changed the question, so flipping it into a question: how can I develop strategies to memorise words and phrases and sounds in Māori so I can more confidently use Māori in my work? We're going to be reflecting on your goal or your inquiry every week, so it's a key thing to look at. Okay, so looking back, so you'll see next week we're going to be looking at that. Okay, kiwaha, our idiom for our little phrase for the day is karawhiua. And like the little fella there with the fist pump, he's encouraging you to go for it. And somebody talked about it being the Nike tick, which is just is very similar to the concept is pretty much the same. And it's closely related to kia kaha as well, which those of us who live in Christchurch are very au fait with kia kaha and what that means. Okay, so we reviewed the greetings, and if you go back to the other session, there's a pronunciation guide there, and the farewells as well. And we sung Ahaka Mamapara, and you can play that. And actually at the beginning what we did do is we reviewed lots of tips that everyone shared with in terms of pronunciation. So what were the things that they'd learnt about Māori pronunciation? There was a great list. So one of the tips I shared was about using guide words. So words that I knew. So this is what I did when I learned how to speak Māori and German, so that I knew that my pronunciation was always going to be right. So most languages, unlike English, have consistency in sounds. So the OE sound will always make a wet sound, as in koe. I am a ho and you are koe. Koutou, we talked about Billy T. James and one of his skits where he used to say tin of cocoa instead of tēnā koutou. But the koutou is a good pronunciation guide. Ko rua. We talked about how rua means two. Ua, the UA, ua. Reo, as in dead eel. L, the EO is a ill sound, very much like a lazy English pronunciation of eel. Eel. In a Kiwi English, we have a tendency to not pronounce the L sound. Okay, aho, the AU in aho, o tautahi in aho, kei te pai. The A in K, and the I in pi, the EIAI, and the whole now brown cow, ao, te roa. So once you've got those sounds down, these words down in your head, you can use those as a guide. Okay, reviewed that from last week. Practiced our syllables, and remember words cut off after the vowel sound in Māori. Practice those, and we practice these people's names. This is all on last week's, so I won't go over it too much. We practiced e hoa and e hoa ma, but before we did that, we looked at tēnā koe, greetings to one person, tēnā kōrua, greetings to two, tēnā koutou, greetings to three or more. And then we added on the term of address, e hoa, or mate. So, tēnā koe e hoa, but when we're addressing more than two, tēnā koe e hoa ma, or three or more, tēnā koutou e hoa ma. So that's for the names, sorry. And there are the rules for people's names. If there's two syllables or less, you need an e, and the same for terms of address. E hoa. And the ma means and the others, so you take it on. So I invite you to study this page and use the ones, try and remember the ones you use most often. And that was about what we covered today.